about safety. But I haven't heard one word from either one of you about liberty, to be free. I have always been a fan of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, to me, still has a great legacy. Ronald Reagan said, believed totally, that there were two great threats when he was president. One was the Soviet Union, and the other was a soft, secret police in the United States. This is actually out of his mouth. Namely, a vast, unaccountable government bureaucracy, accountable to no one, that can dictate policy that Americans have to abide by. My God, Wilbur and Orville Wright, would they have a tough time today with the regulations inventing an airplane? Hewlett-Packard founded their company in a garage. Would they have a tough time founding that fantastic company today in a garage? What I'm saying is, the Soviet Union has gone to a great extent, notwithstanding Putin. That's another story entirely. But this other thing about what Europe has done, and now even people in Europe are turning away from this. This idea of this huge, vast bureaucracy, whether it's from the federal government or any government, dictating policy to us that's unaccountable to no one, Ronald Reagan was very, very concerned about. And I just want to get a comment from each of you what you think about that.
Well, I mean, every time Congress passes a bill and there's regulation written pursuant to it, we lose our liberty, we lose our freedoms. That's what these rules do. They inhibit our ability to make choices and to do the things that we want to do. And every time they pass another law, we lose more freedom and become, less free. And that's why what I want to do in Congress is repeal all these rules and these regulations that are restricting our liberties and making our economy less productive. I mean, I feel that every day in my life, in my business, where there are things that I can't do because some government regulation says I can't do it. Recently, I had a registered investment advisory business. And I'm trying to think of, I just started this investment advisory business, and I also had a brokerage business. And I'm giving clients the ability to move their accounts from the commission-based brokerage account to a fee-based management account. And there are some Europe Pacific Capital clients that were down. Some of them came in, at the height of the market. They invested some money with me, and their accounts were down. And I was like, gee, well, I'll put you into the money market, my management program. I'm not going to charge you anything because you're down. I'm just going to manage your account until it's not down anymore. I thought it was great. No, they didn't ask for it. I just volunteered it. Well, now I find out from my compliance officer that the lawyers say we can't do that. The government rules won't let it. I can't not charge them. And I said, well, I didn't even want to, but now some government rule says, and the government dictates how I do my business. I mean, what difference is it going to make? And there's so many. I mean, I talk to the branch managers, and they're 3 or 4 hours a day. I mean, people are up to their eyeballs with government rules and regulations. They get more cumbersome and more complicated every year, and they never repeal anything. All they do is layer new regulations on the old regulations, and they don't care what it costs the business to comply with it. They don't care if it actually does anything productive. None of it does. It just runs up the cost of doing business, ties my hands as a businessman. I mean, what protects my customers is my own integrity and my own desire to maintain my brand. To grow my business by doing right by my customers. I'm not unique. Most businessmen are like that. I mean, there's not that many crooks. I mean, there are always dishonest people in every profession. The problem is some crooked guy swindles some old lady, they put it on the news, and now we need more financial regulation. Meanwhile, that regulation does far more damage than the few crooks that slip through the cracks. And the good thing about the free enterprise system is, in general, crooks don't get very far. They don't get a lot of clients because they go bankrupt because they screw their clients. So they don't get to rip off a lot of people. The people that grow and have a lot of clients are doing it right. Now, you do have an exception like this Bernie Madoff, but you know what? Bernie Madoff never could have pulled off that scam if it wasn't for the SEC, if it wasn't for FINRA, if people weren't confident that the government was auditing. Because if there were no government regulators, there would have been more vigilance on the part of his clients. There would have been more independent review, and it would have been ferreted out. Instead, it was the government that was doing it, and of course, he got in, good as his daughter or whatever married to one of the SEC guys, and so we need to bring back our freedoms. I mean, the reason this country became such a powerful country, such a wealthy country, was because we were free. People came to this country from all around the world in search of freedom, not in search of handouts. They wanted to be free of government. I mean, do you think we could have gotten anywhere? You know, we never would have settled the West. Can you imagine these covered wagons trying to go out west with OSHA workers there, with IRA agents there, you know, trying to make, you know, is this wagon up to code? You got this? I mean, we never would have got anywhere as a nation with all these rules and regulations.
Thank you.
I was really bummed out that Mr. McMahon and Mr. Simmons were not going to be able to be here tonight. I really wanted to get a chance to compare apples to apples, but it makes this question very easy for me. What would each one of you be able to do at this point to take Linda McMahon out?
Well, I mean, she's obviously not, I mean, you know, she's not that easy to just take out. I mean, you know, she could stay in it till the very end.
Well, no, how are you going to win this race, guys?
Well, I mean, I think the way I beat Linda is, you know, I think Linda and I have, in a way, a similar message in that we're both business people. We both run businesses successfully. We both have never been involved in politics, so we're able to make the argument that we can clean up Washington, that, you know, we are coming from business, that we're not corrupted, we're certainly not in it for the money, you know, we don't need the job, and, you know, and that's what we need. We can tap into the anti-establishment, you know, throw the bums out environment. But where I think I can shine where Linda doesn't is in two areas. One, though we both have business experience, I think mine is far more relevant to the problems facing the country. It's one thing to understand how to run a business, but you also have to understand economics and what's wrong with the country, and understand economic policy, understand finance, understand Wall Street, understand all the real root causes of the financial crisis and all the ways the government has brought this about. I don't think she knows that. I mean, I think she knows that there's a problem, and she's right there, but I don't think she really has the understanding of economics to understand the nature of it and what needs to be done. And I don't think that she has the credibility. I think we need to lead. I want to lead a revolution in the Republican Party in the Senate. And I don't know that she'll be able to do that. I think she might be a decent senator, but I don't know that she's going to lead the Senate. I don't know that she's going to convince other senators that she knows more about economics than Ben Bernanke or Timothy Geithner or the Council of Economic Advisors. That, you know, I want to point out and show senators that they've been listening to the wrong guys. They've been following bad advice. And I think I can do that where she can't. And I think the other problem is I don't think she can win in the general election. I don't care how much money she has. I don't think she's going to win. Because I think the Democrats are going to see all that money, and they're not just going to concede this race. They've got a popular attorney general. They don't want to lose this seat. They don't want to lose after losing Ted Kennedy's seat. They're not going to lose the Dobbs seat that easily. So they're going to raise all the money they need. They're going to put this fate in play. They're going to go to Hollywood. They're going to go to Wall Street. They're going to bring out the big guns. Obama's going to be in here with his fundraising machine. And they are going to match Linda dollar for dollar, if not more. And they are going to flood the airwaves with attack ads. And she has already spent over $15 million in this race. And she's still 20 points behind Dick Blumenthal after spending $15 million. And her negatives are very high, despite the fact that not a single negative ad has been run against her. So I think she has some vulnerabilities in the negative camps. Unfortunately, I think, you know, she's got the problems with wrestling and some other issues that I think are going to distract from the real issues of this debate, of this race. So if we're going to beat Dick Blumenthal and really have a race about, you know, an insider, a career politician, whether they're in Hartford or in Washington, versus a business person, an economist, somebody who's going to come in and clean up Washington, you know, I'm the better candidate to put up against Dick Blumenthal. And I think where Dick Blumenthal is very weak is in debate. I think he did a lousy job in the debate he had that was televised. I think he's lousy when he's interviewed. And I think that's my strong point. I think I'm a much better contrast to Dick Blumenthal than Linda McMahon. I think that I can, you know, put him in his place quicker, and I've joked that if I could debate Dick Blumenthal, he won't be able to get elected dog catcher in this state.